The Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic has come to an end. Now with the relaunch of Power Rangers Prime coming up, now is a good time to catch up on the comics if you've been wanting to. So today's video is the complete reading order to the Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics. It's Morphin time! Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video we are going to be talking about the complete reading order for Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics. I had briefly touched on the reading order before in the Power Rangers viewing guide video, which is still good for the TV shows, but now that the Boom Studios Mighty Morphin comics have ended, I thought this was a good time to do a complete reading order. Now this is going to be kind of a different type of video. I'm going to be doing sort of a breakdown of all of Boom's Power Rangers comics, what's in the main universe, and then what's the little side things they've done. So what we're going to start with is the main story continuity order. This is going to be a reading order. It's not going to be every single little short story, every single little like side thing. This is going to be a reading order that, from my personal opinion of reading these comics, some multiple times, this is the proper order you should read them in for the story to make the most sense. So while a chronological order would put flashback stuff or stories that take place in an earlier point in time, maybe we don't want to do those early when you're doing a first read through because there would be spoilers. Now that being said, I do have a timeline of every single short story, every single story arc, and where everything goes in a chronological order for those that want to reread everything like in perfect like sequence, and that is something I'm not going to cover in this video. However, the notes that I'm using for this video, as well as more in-depth on the collected editions and how things are released, that will be available in a guide that I have in my Discord server. So come join the Discord server and you can get access to the guides and checklists section. And in there will be a Power Rangers Boom Studios reading and collecting guide. Because if I start talking about like short stories that were in anthologies or in the back of deluxe hardcovers, it will bog the video down and not be entertaining to most people watching. But if you want that kind of depth and detail, that document in guides and checklists in our Discord server is there for you to look at. Now, also, we will be talking about other spin-offs in the Boom Studios. So there is alternate universe stories, there is stuff that's continuation to TVs and movies, and there are crossovers. And I'm going to explain those and kind of give you a little basics on those. But we're going to mostly go in depth on the main timeline of the Boom Studios comics. I will also be refraining from spoilers in story elements. However, I will be giving a short synopsis of each of the story arcs, so if that's too much spoilers for you, I don't know what to tell you, because I just got to give you something to give you an idea of where we are in the timeline. But before we get too far in, if you enjoy this type of video, please hit the like button. It tells me to do more comic videos, more Power Rangers videos, that kind of thing. Hit the subscribe and notification bell to see the channel grow and continue to do things. And leave any questions or concerns in the comments down below. And without further ado, let's begin the complete reading order, where the timeline properly starts. Go Go Power Rangers. So for some context, when the Power Rangers comics started, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics started after Tommy had become the Green Ranger. In fact, the comic is basically built off the premise that the Green with Evil 5-parter from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers happened in the Boom Studios universe. It was just a little different. It's a more modern setting of the comic. Now, a few years in, they launched the Go Go Power Rangers series, which told the stories from before Tommy became the Green Ranger. And so when it comes to a reading order, this is where I recommend starting. It sort of gets you in slower, builds you up the origin, and kind of gets you more established with these versions of the Rangers. So to do so, you're going to want to read issues 1 through 12 of Go Go Power Rangers. Now, of note, issues 9 through 12 tie into the Shattered Grid event, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves because it kind of ties in that there is a character that time travels and goes back to the Go Go Power Rangers point in time, and it interacts with the Mighty Morphin point in time, which is later on, and we'll talk about Shattered Grid. So you don't really need to read Shattered Grid to read these 4 issues that tie in. That's issues 9 through 12. And that, I think, is kind of nice because it still allows you to read Go-Go Power Rangers straight through, and you get little teases and hints of the future. After issues 1 through 12, I placed the Go-Go Power Rangers Back to School special. This is an anthology one-shot that kind of shows just like days in the lives of the Rangers, little short stories, nothing too consequential, but that's where I would place it because the next big arcs start. From here, read issues 13 through 20 of Go-Go Power Rangers. I find that this is some of my favorite stuff from Go-Go. You're kind of past the origin, but you're before Tommy joining as the Green Ranger, and there's some really cool storylines and character developments. After issue 20, you're going to want to read the Go-Go Power Rangers Forever Rangers one-shot. This sort of acts as a finale for the origin part of the Go-Go Power Rangers series. Now, Go-Go Power Rangers did continue with an issue 21 and ran till issue 32. However, those take place further in the timeline, and we will talk about them further down the reading guide. Now, if you're looking to read this early part of Go-Go Power Rangers volumes 1 through 6 in the trade paperback will contain everything you need, including the one-shots. And if you're like me and love the deluxe hardcovers, this is all of deluxe hardcover 1 and up through Forever Rangers in hardcover 2. There is some overlap of this hardcover and a later one, but issue 20 goes into Forever Rangers, and then after that you don't have to worry about it, except for the bonus story in Go-Go Volume 2. There are deluxe hardcovers that I think are my favorite format for the series because they're kind of nice in reading order for the most part, and they do have exclusive 10-page stories in each of these, but I'm not including them in the reading guide because only if you have the deluxe hardcovers you're going to read them, and for the most part they're kind of inconsequential, but they're fun to read, and you can just read them when you reach the end of that volume. So continuity-wise, between Forever Rangers and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, Tommy becomes the Green Ranger and formally joins the team. However, we unfortunately didn't get like a little mini-series to show the Boom Universe version of Green with Evil, so you're just going to have to go with the basic points. Tommy becomes the Green Ranger from a power coin given by Rita, and so he's turned evil and brainwashed, and the Rangers help break him out, and then he joins the team. That's the basics you need to know in case you haven't seen the Mighty Morphin episodes that storyline is based on. Those episodes aren't canon to the comic, but the same events happen in the comic universe. So this leads us to the first story arc of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic, Green Ranger Year 1, pretty much running issues 0 through 10. Green Ranger Year 1 is interesting because the Year 1 title is sort of in reference to Batman Year 1, which was not showing the origin of Batman so much as showing what happens right after he's become Batman, what's that early stages, and that's where Green Ranger Year 1 takes place. It's sort of the establishment of the Boom Power Rangers, and if you've been reading Go-Go prior to this, you're kind of familiar with the characters and the differences between their TV show counterparts if you've even watched the original show. Now this would lead us into the next story arc, and one of the biggest things the comics did in the early days, the introduction of Lord Draken. Who he is, I will leave as a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you who Lord Draken is, but this was a new character, a new introduction, and something that deviated from, like, you know, we're not following the Mighty Morphin trend, and it was pretty early on that we were told this. The initial arc introducing Lord Draken ran from issues 11 through 16. The next arc was a lot of secrets, revelations, things that we never knew about, and that is what I call Hidden Secrets, issues 17 through 23. This is sort of building up to some future events, setting up some new established things in the Boom Comics universe, and establishing new lore and new history. And this is where I really feel like the comics started finding their own footing, and I was really excited about what they were going to do. Also, there was 2 annual one-shots. These were produced in 2016 and 2017. These 2 annuals are anthology one-shots. They have a bunch of different stories in them, and they sort of work into filling out gaps in the timeline. They're fun, they're not super consequential, there's some really good stories with some of the villains in them, so I would recommend reading those after you read issue 23, because there's not really a place to slot them in with them being so scattershot in the timeline. So if you're looking for these issues, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volumes 1 through 6 in trade paperback will have the main issues, and Power Rangers Lost Chronicles Volume 1 will contain the 2 annuals. For deluxe edition hardcovers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1 and Year 2 will contain all these issues plus the annuals, making for a pretty solid reading experience. Also, Year 1 randomly gets restocked, but is the hardest to find of the deluxe hardcovers, but I wish you luck. They do restock this book quite frequently. Year 2 is a little hard to get as well, but if you can find these 2, you're pretty much set on the rest of the hardcovers. So this leads us to the first big crossover event in the Power Rangers comics, Shattered Grid. Lord Draken has returned, and he's set his sights on the entire morphing grid and breaking it apart, seeing Rangers from all different points in time having to team up and work together. This was a huge event, and it was really cool to see pulled off. It builds on all the previous stories that were built up in Go-Go Power Rangers and in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic. So the official reading order for Shattered Grid, which is mostly followed by things like the deluxe hardcover, but not so much the trade paperbacks, is as followed. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 24 to 25. Then the Shattered Grid live-action film, which is not included in the comic books, but it is available online. This was directed by the comics writer, Kyle Higgins, and is just kind of a little, like, cap off to the beginning of this story, and it's a really cool thing to kind of tie the Power Rangers TV universe to the comics. Then you got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 26, followed by the 2018 annual. Now, this isn't included in the normal trade paperback runs, but this is an anthology showing the different Ranger teams that are involved in the crossover and sort of filling out more of those stories. And it's a pretty good read, and it allows you to expand out the Shattered Grid story. Then there's Go-Go Power Rangers issue 9. If you had already read this during Go-Go, you might want to reread it when you're reading Shattered Grid, just because it might make a little bit more sense with some of the connections to it. Then we have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Free Comic Book Day 2018 one-shot. That is another story. It's just tying into the overall narrative. Then we have Mighty Morphin issue 27, Go-Go Power Rangers issue 10, Mighty Morphin issue 28, Go-Go Power Rangers issue 11, Mighty Morphin 29, Go-Go Power Rangers issue 12, Mighty Morphin issue 30, and then the Shattered Grid finale one-shot. So if you are looking for Shattered Grid, you're going to look for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers volumes 6 through 8 for the issues 25 through 30 and the finale. Go-Go Power Rangers volume 3 will have issues 9 through 12. Lost Chronicles Volume 2 will have the 2018 annual that fills in the story. There also is a large-size paperback of Shattered Grid, which contains Mighty Morphin 25 through 30, the finale for Shattered Grid, and the Free Comic Book Day special, but does not contain the 2018 annual. Which means if you want to read the entire event in reading order in the easiest one single way to read it, the deluxe edition hardcover is my highest recommendation, because everything is in here: the annual, the Free Comic Book Day, the Go-Go issues, and the Mighty Morphin issues, all in one, nice, easy to read in this one. Even if you're collecting paperback, I almost recommend the hardcover for Shattered Grid, just because everything else for paperback requires some double dipping. Now, after Shattered Grid, things were a little bit scattered, and the Mighty Morphin comic ended up taking a pivot and not focusing on the Mighty Morphin team for its next arc, Beyond the Grid. Seeing a team of Rangers formed from different members of different teams of Rangers, Beyond the Grid saw the aftermath of Shattered Grid and sort of explored some of the more, like, ethereal, experimental ideas that could come out of a comics universe. It also introduced the Violet Solar Ranger, who would be one of the new characters introduced and would become very important in later storylines. Beyond the Grid ran from Mighty Morphin issues 31 through 39. It was collected in the Mighty Morphin trade paperback volumes 9 and 10. There also was a thick trade paperback called Beyond the Grid that contains the entire thing, and there was a deluxe hardcover containing all of Beyond the Grid. It did feel like Beyond the Grid was supposed to go on a little bit longer, because this is the shortest of the deluxe hardcovers, and they packed it with a couple one-shots, but it's kind of interesting that this one was a little bit shorter than some of the other story arcs. That being said, it is one of the most experimental stories that the Boom universe ever did. Now, the next story arc is interesting in the way you need to read it. This is Necessary Evil. This sort of moved the Mighty Morphin team forward, and it saw things like Tommy become the White Ranger, and Jason, Srini, and Zach leave the team. But unlike in the show where they just went off to a peace conference, they actually go off and become new Rangers. So there's now two teams of Rangers in play, the Mighty Morphin Rangers and the Omega Rangers. And that adds a lot of cool character dynamics and plenty of drama. So the official reading order, because this was the release order, has readers alternate Go-Go Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin issues, with Go-Go Power Rangers showing all the events leading up to the Necessary Evil event, and the Mighty Morphin issues showing the continuing story. And it's kind of neat to see the revelations play back and forth. But I did a reread of Necessary Evil where I read all the Go-Go issues first and then the Mighty Morphin issues, and I found that to be a much more streamlined experience. So in this case, I recommend reading Go-Go Power Rangers 21 through 32. This will give you all the backstory and all the lead up into the first Mighty Morphin issue of Necessary Evil. Then it gets weird. On the variant covers for issues 40 through 50 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, there was story bits, and it's a story called Everything in Its Place. It's in the deluxe hardcovers. I don't know if it's in the trade paperbacks. It should be. And that is actually kind of important for setting up things, and it's weird that they told that story on the front of variant covers, and I'm glad they never did that again. And then the rest of the storyline is played out in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 40 through 50. So in trade paperback form, this was collected in Go-Go Power Rangers volumes 7 through 9, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers volumes 11 through 13. There also are 2 large trade paperbacks of Necessary Evil 1 and Necessary Evil 2, and those mirror the deluxe hardcovers of Necessary Evil 1 and 2. Now these, and I believe the large paperbacks, intersplice Go-Go and Mighty Morphin, alternating them back and forth. So if you're reading in deluxe, you may just want to read it that way. It's just simpler unless you want to really just jump between the Mighty Morphin issues. Also, if you have Go-Go Power Rangers Volume 2, the Go-Go issues are in there, and they're in here, which adds for a little bit of a complication. It's one of the weirdest parts. I would have preferred that these were just the Mighty Morphin issues of Necessary Evil in one volume, and then the Go-Go wouldn't feel like a double dip, but this is how they decided to do it, and that's what we got to live with. Following Necessary Evil, there was a short mini arc called Aftermath. This lasted from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 51 through 55. It was collected in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 14 and in Necessary Evil 2 Deluxe Edition. So following Aftermath, Ranger Slayer, who had been a big part of the Shattered Grid storyline and Beyond the Grid storyline, ends up returning home in the Ranger Slayer one-shot, followed up with the Draken New Dawn 3-issue miniseries. These 4 issues together were collected in the Draken New Dawn trade paperback. However, the Draken New Dawn part's never been hit in deluxe hardcover, though the Ranger Slayer one-shot was in one of the hardcovers. But this is continuing where Ranger Slayer's story left off in the Mighty Morphin comic, and it's good to read here. It's the best place before we start a new era. So following Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 55, the decision was made to split the book in 2. Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. Ostensibly speaking, and through the Legacy variant covers officially speaking, Mighty Morphin 1 is issue 56 and Power Rangers 1 is issue 57. However, what happened is that the Mighty Morphin book became the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers book, and the Power Rangers book became the Omega Rangers book. And the 2 teams would sort of split up and go on their own storylines before reconverging later. So when it comes to reading Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, you could alternate and go Mighty Morphin 1, Power Rangers 1, Mighty Morphin 2, Power Rangers 2, which is how the deluxe hardcovers are mapped. Or you could read each arc, like all of the arc for Mighty Morphin, then all the arc of Power Rangers. The choice is yours. So let's begin. Mighty Morphin issues 1 through 5 as part of the Unlimited Power era, and then Power Rangers 1 through 5. At this point, you want to read the Power Rangers Unlimited one-shot Heir to the Darkness, which is more secrets and revelations and ties into the ongoing story. Then Mighty Morphin issues 6 through 8, and Power Rangers issues 6 through 8. Followed by the Power Rangers Unlimited Edge of Darkness one-shot, which connects to Heir of Darkness, and they will tie into future events. Rounding out Unlimited Power will be Mighty Morphin 9 through 12 and Power Rangers 9 through 12. So for these first 12 issues of each book, you're going to want to look for the Mighty Morphin volumes 1 through 3, the Power Rangers volume 1 through 3, and the Unlimited Edge of Darkness trade paperback for those 2 Unlimited one-shots. There's also a large paperback line start called Unlimited Power volumes 1 and 2, and future volumes, which combine both Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers in the same volume. Now in deluxe hardcover, 1 through 8 of each series plus the unlimited one-shots are in Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 1, and 9 through 12 of each series is in Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2. Now the 2 books did converge in the storyline known as the Eltarian War, and if you know things about Power Rangers, that title should mean something to you. This was where the 2 storylines had to converge due to different stories. So what I recommend is alternating the Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers issues. So Mighty Morphin 13, Power Rangers 13, etc. So Mighty Morphin 13 through 16, Power Rangers 13 through 16. Alternate between the 2. And these are found in Mighty Morphin Volume 4 and Power Rangers Volume 4, as well as Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition hardcover. And the Eltarian War starts to lead us to another huge storyline called Charge to 100, also known as the Death Ranger Saga. Kicking this storyline off, we have Power Rangers Unlimited Countdown to Ruin, which is a one-shot that sort of provides more backstory to things that will be happening in the Death Ranger Saga. And for note, Countdown to Ruin is the last issue in Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2. It leads into Book 3 nicely that way, but it is in Book 2, whereas everything else will be in Book 3. So this is going to see the end of the split book format with Mighty Morphin 17 through 22 and Power Rangers 17 through 22. I highly recommend reading these alternating. Mighty Morphin 17, Power Rangers 17, Mighty Morphin 18, Power Rangers 18, etc. It just works better when you alternate them. After that, the Power Rangers Unlimited Death Ranger one-shot will give you all the details on the Death Ranger before leading into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 100. This is where they kept all the numbering throughout the whole split era, and we're at 100 issues of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is pretty incredible. Most books never even get anywhere close to that in the modern comic space, so for Power Rangers to do it, it's dang impressive. Finding it in trade's a little tricky. Volumes 5 and 6 of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers will get you the one-shots and issues 17 through 22. However, Mighty Morphin 100, the finale to the story, is saved for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged Volume 1. I think that 100 should have been in one of the previous volumes. It just makes sense. But the rest of the storyline past Countdown to Ruin will be in the upcoming Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 3 Deluxe Edition, including issue 100, which is good. So the Death Ranger storyline has concluded, and it's time to take a look back at the origin of the Morphin Grid with Power Rangers Universe, a 6-issue miniseries. This is a fascinating story that takes us back to see how the Morphin Grid was created and how that ended up happening, and solving a lot of mysteries about some of the characters you have seen related to the Morphin Grid throughout the saga so far. To date, this hasn't hit deluxe hardcover, but it is available in trade paperback and a standard size hardcover. Now we enter the Recharged era. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 101 through 109 is known as the Recharged storyline. Everybody's kind of regathering what's been going on after the Death Ranger saga. It was a lot of stuff that happened, and this is kind of like our breather, time to get things together, pick pieces back up, and see what the new threat is on the horizon. This is collected in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged 1 through 3 in trade paperback, no deluxe hardcover as of yet. Peace would not last long as Darkest Hour became the big finale arc to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic saga from Boom Studios. And Darkest Hour is a whole year-long event, and it's a lot, but it's kind of a cool way to wrap everything up into a nice little bow. So kicking off Darkest Hour, we have 2 prelude one-shots. Power Rangers Unlimited The Coinless, which sees a look at Lord Draken's universe and how things have been going there. And Power Rangers Unlimited Hyperforce, which is actually a sequel to the Hyperforce live tabletop RPG series that existed a few years ago, and continues their storylines while also catching readers up on stuff that involved them, as the Hyperforce Rangers would become involved with the Darkest Hour storyline. It's actually pretty cool, and it's co-written by one of the Hyperforce Rangers, and so it's really, really cool. From here, we have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issues 110 through 116, as the Darkest Hour continues to progress as things seemingly get worse and worse and worse. There then is another Power Rangers Unlimited one-shot, this time the Morphin Masters, that is a side story that will connect back to the main story. And then through issues 117 through 122, everything seemingly goes wrong before the big Power Rangers Darkest Hour one-shot finale. Now, if you're looking to read Darkest Hour in trade paperback form, Unlimited Call to Darkness will have the 2 Unlimited specials, the Coinless and Hyperforce. Recharged volumes 3 through 6 will have all the issues, plus the Darkest Hour finale. And then if you want to read the Morphin Masters, it's going to be in a separate trade called Power Rangers Forever Rangers. And I really wish that was not relegated over there, because it is kind of an important part of the story. Now that concludes the main Boom Studios Power Rangers timeline. But something that works kind of adjacent to it and is kind of off in its own little space that sort of connects back in some ways is the Ranger Academy Young Adult series. This was a 12-issue series. It's still coming out as time of recording, but it's going to be wrapping up soon. Collected in 3 digest-sized trade paperbacks, and this sees an academy that trains the next generation of Power Rangers. It's a very interesting take on the premise, completely brand new characters, though some familiar faces will pop up. As far as I know, it does take place in the main Boom Comics universe because of some of the tie-ins they've had, but it could also be its own thing. I'm just leaving it here for now because there's not really clarity on where or when it takes place. So while we have covered the main Boom Power Rangers universe, they have published other comics, and I wanted to kind of elaborate on those, so if anyone's wondering, where'd you put that? Why is that not in the reading order? Any of these can be read at the reader's discretion. They're not important to the main story, and they are just kind of fun side material. All right, so first up, we're going to go with some one-shots. The Power Rangers 25th Anniversary Special is a collection of short stories. Some take place in the Boom timeline, some take place in the continuities of the TV shows themselves, so you can read that and have a good time. That was collected in the Lost Chronicles Volume 2 paperback and the Beyond the Grid Deluxe Edition hardcover. Naturally, 5 years later, they came back and did it again for the Power Rangers 30th Anniversary Special. Some stories connect to the TV shows, some to the Boom comics, some to other universes. It's a fun little time, and that is collected in the Power Rangers Forever Rangers trade paperback and not in any deluxe hardcovers yet. And the recent release Power Rangers Infinity one-shot is a very interesting take on a Power Rangers story, seeing sort of rejected team ideas and the overall idea of, do Ranger teams have cycles to their themes? Plus, the main villain is Poisandra, so Dino Charge fans rejoice. It's a fun one-shot. It currently doesn't have any collections in trade paperbacks or in hardcovers, but I'm sure it'll get recollected somewhere. But I quite enjoyed it and highly recommend it. Now, for a time, Boom Studios produced these 90-page one-shot graphic novels, and a lot of these are more TV movie continuations than they are comic universe stuff, but let's talk about them. First up, Power Rangers Aftershock. This was a sequel to the 2017 movie, and ultimately the only continuation of their story. It's a pretty good time. It's hard to find the single paperback of it, though, because it's kind of out of print. Power Rangers Soul the Dragon is a follow-up for Tommy Oliver, not just for his Mighty Morphin days, his Zeo days, Turbo days, or Dino Thunder days, but sees a point in time beyond the SPD TV series and seeing an older Tommy and his new fancy Master Morpher, which later was worked into the TV show. Power Rangers the Psychopath is a weird spot because it seemingly is trying to be a sequel to the In-Space TV show, but it features Psycho Green, a comics exclusive character. So I actually put this in the Boom timeline, especially with some of the storylines that came up during the Unlimited Power era. So it's just kind of weird though, because of some of the other Boom stuff. I don't know where to put it in the Boom timeline. So we can consider it a Boom offshoot or a very weird sequel to the TV show. And then Power Rangers Sins of the Future is a Time Force sequel. I personally think this fits the continuity of the show, and the characters feel on point to what happened in the series. We did see a sort of Boom version of Time Force during some of the events, and maybe it takes place in that universe. Up to the reader to decide. So all four of these had their own single graphic novel release. You also could get all four in the Power Rangers Lost Chronicles Deluxe Edition, which is a pretty nice volume for getting all those in one shot. We do have a couple alternate universe miniseries. First of all, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink. This came pretty early in Boom's run, and is supposed to be a story of Kimberly after she left for the Pan Global Games, and this is like, oh, what would Kimberly be off doing, and kind of giving her like her own solo adventure. It was really cool, and it kind of seemed like it was supposed to be like a flash forward to the Mighty Morphin timeline, but without spoilers, we really didn't follow the TV show that closely after the introduction of the White Ranger, so it never really fits into the main Boom timeline, far as I can tell, so I consider it an alternate universe now. That being said, it is a fun 6-issue miniseries that was collected into a trade paperback, no deluxe edition hardcover so far. And then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Return, written by Amy Jo Johnson. This is an alternate universe to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV show. Sort of like, what if the battle for Rita ended in season 1 and everybody stopped being Rangers for multiple reasons? An interesting look into a what-if sort of scenario, and it is a 4-issue series, and the trade paperback contains the 4 issues. Now, there was a prequel lead-in story in the Mighty Morphin 30th Anniversary Special, which, as far as I know, that story is not collected in the Mighty Morphin Return trade paperback, though that hasn't come out yet, so we don't know for sure, but there is that lead-in from the 30th anniversary. No deluxe hardcover on this either yet. Then we've had several crossovers. All these have had trade paperbacks for their individual miniseries, but have not had deluxe editions. We have Justice League Power Rangers, which lasted 6 issues, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which lasted 5, MMPR TMNT 2, which was another 5 issues that was a direct sequel, Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers lasted 5 issues, Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2, which is also 5 issues. And then there is an upcoming Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Usagi Yojimbo one-shot that is coming soon, and I'm very excited to see how that turns out, because that's pretty cool that they're doing that. And that brings us all the way back around to Power Rangers Prime, the new series launching in November 2024. This is going to be a complete new, fresh entry point. If you didn't read anything I talked about before, you can just jump into this. Everything they said in the creator comments is that this is sort of taking a new Power Rangers universe where all the elements are at play, where the first issue starts of Lauren Shiba from Power Rangers Samurai being the main character. This is not a reboot of the Boom timeline. It's not a remake of Mighty Morphin. This is something entirely new and something only the comics could craft, and I'm very, very excited to see what they do. So if you want to read all the previous Boom stuff, or you want to jump into Power Rangers Prime, that's your previous options. But I hope this guide has been able to tell you what order to read it in. And like I said, if you want more depth and detail, check our Discord server, check the guides and checklists section. There's more than just a Power Rangers reading guide down there. There's a bunch of stuff. I put a lot of things in there. Other members of our Discord server contribute to that as well. We have a great resource building up there. And if you want to contribute, be sure to hit up the mods on the Discord server and say, hey, I got a list I want to share. That is the reading order. That is the collected edition guide that I can provide in a video form. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave them in the comments down below, leave them in the Discord, hit me up. Just things that we can have a discussion about it. I love the Boom Power Rangers comics. It's what's gotten me through the darkest times of the franchise, and I can't wait for Power Rangers Prime to do the same. Also, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the notification bell if you haven't already. I really do appreciate that. It seems like it's nothing, but it really helps the channel immensely. It helps the video get out to more people, it helps the channel grow, and allows us to do more videos like this. Also, be sure to check out our live streams every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern here on this YouTube channel. And if you want to help support the channel directly, you can join as a channel member. We have perks like early access to videos, member-exclusive live streams, special shout-outs, and let's give some special shout-outs to our channel members. Special shout-out to all of our channel members, including our Captain Tiers, Spin-54, Toma K, Master Ben 95, Jamie's World, Jack Move Johnny, Yukiyo Sayuki, Michael Flores, Steel, Aaron, Rabbitman, Shigs, Jess Hood, Vigo, Common Pikachu, Geets, Andy Stutz, Joy-Con Girl, Dazagno, and Ben Odinson. Thank you all for your support of this channel. If you still wish, you can find me across most social media at Soundout12. You can find my awesome graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for Power Rangers news, interviews, reviews, and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, it's Morphin time!